We've got a pretty serious video to make. Throughout my career, people make mistakes and there's accountability to be taken, and I am not shy to taking real accountability to actual mistakes. Now, the thing about this is...
So are Mutahars saying why he recorded this video and why it's so important? Let's actually get into the good part of this video where he confronts the actual allegations.
Now, I have a Reddit board known as Some Ordinary Gamers, and you can post whatever memes and things you want all day, every day. But one of the clips that I saw, one of the things shared, was resurfaced video of Oompaville, Some Ordinary Gamers, and Nuxtaku watching Loli together on a Discord call. So when I see this kind of stuff, it blows me, and obviously it flashbangs anybody, and I want to definitely have a talk about it and really explain to you exactly what this is, what it's about, give you my side of the perspective, and again, take accountability where accountability needs to be fucking taken.
Oh boy.
These are the four younger sisters.
Oh. Bro, they're fucking exceptionally young. Jesus Christ.
My go-to rule is when there's ever an anime character that looks like they're 10 freaking years old, they're probably 900-year-old cum vampires that have lied in wait for far too long.
These are the four horsemen of the apocalypse we're looking at right now. This is like some mythological.
They've been around since long before civilization.
Exactly.
Should have been something that I never watched in the first place. I should have never, condoned. And honestly, it's pretty shitty to even contribute to somewhat normalizing this material. When there's a lot of large creators that work with a person, you tend to have this level of authority brought into it. And there is obviously a blind spot when this is somebody that you consider to be a friend at the time. And obviously when you work with that person and you see other large creators that you're also friends with work with that person, it just, again, swells up that blind spot that you make.
So what I'm getting from this is that because they were your friend and because other people were watching this stuff as well and that they were a big content creator, you decided to join in, even though by your own beliefs, you shouldn't have, and you should have been absolutely against this and probably calling this out. Because you compare this stuff to CSAM. That's what you compare it to. So the fact that you didn't shows either you truly don't believe that it is comparable to CSAM or that it's even in that ballpark, or it shows that you're a rat with a lack of principles. You do not have morals. You are a rat. That is basically what that sounds like. And honestly, when it comes to that sort of stuff, it's like, just be consistent with your principles. Because imagine if we replaced like hentai, loli and stuff. Imagine replace that, right, with somebody says, oh, we're watching something that's comparable to CSAM. Do you know how fast people would turn your ass into jail if you replace the words with what you actually compare it to and even think that it's equivalent to? This is insanity. This is why antis will always be nutcases, because if you replace the words they're using with what they feel or believe it's equivalent to, they sound like the biggest creeps ever. And that's being generous. That's being nice. I could say they sound like a lot worse.
But again, no real excuses over there. You shouldn't really have a blind spot in the first place. And again, it's not only me being a poor judge of character, but I should have absolutely spotted this years ago. So for that, I absolutely own up to my fuck up here. But again, I don't think this is literally us gooning together watching Loli in this manner. This is a collaboration where it happens pretty much on the fly. And it's not, representative of the kind of shit that I consume on a daily basis or anything of that nature. Like,
oh, well, that's all right then.
I would never willingly and honestly watch something like this.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
Fucking exceptionally young. Jesus Christ.
My go-to rule is when there's ever an anime character that looks like they're 10 freaking years old, they're probably 900-year-old cum vampires.
So a lot of these big creators, you can start to see really big names. Obviously, Project Melody, Critical, MXR Plays. I don't know if that's actually Iron Mouse, but yeah, you can see plenty of creators that Nux has worked with. And for a while, there's been plenty of collaborations where big creators jump on, they get shown crazy shit, crazy hentai, or sometimes participate in games, game shows, so to speak. And that's really the extent of it. Nux is a pretty big collaborator in that space. And realistically, I kind of just walked around expecting him on good faith when he said that, he's pretty anti-loli and obviously wouldn't have shown us anything that would be very adjacent to it.
Fucking exceptionally young. Jesus Christ.
And obviously, with a lot of these larger creators also collaborating with him, I'm sorry to say it really did blindside me. There was a bias, call it, friendship bias, call it, there was other creators working on it, but really it was something that I was putting up a blind spot to. And I'm not using that as an excuse. I really shouldn't have done that collaboration, and I really shouldn't have watched that content, and if any way contributed to normalizing it.
So you and Nux are antis, yet you guys made money, or at least got a lot of views, of producing content involving reacting to lolly content and hentai in like high school settings and stuff like that. Yet you guys still preach about it being bad or being comparable, even in the same ball. And the thing is with this, when it comes to the whole thing where he tries to bring up the Taiga situation, it's only to make Nux look worse so he can make himself look better. And then he can add stuff to try and justify his distancing himself and like disavowing the person that he'd call a friend, even though this is really just about how Nux's channel had sexual content, sexual thumbnails, was about lolly and about like weeb stuff a lot, and Mutahar knew about this, and that's the main reason why he's dissing himself, because he has taken his stance, he is shown to be a hypocrite, and now he has to try and distance himself from another person and make them look worse, so that he doesn't get himself distanced from other people. Because if he has friends that think exactly like him, what are they gonna do when they see that? They're gonna distance himself from him. They're gonna disavow him. They're gonna completely shatter any reputation that he has. Why? Because that's how these people work. They have no backbone. They have no spine. Also, when it comes to this whole thing as well, like, I don't get how he thought this video was gonna go well. Like, and that's probably the reason why he took it down, because everybody was clowning on him, because everybody knew and they saw through this whole act. Anyway, I don't know what's gonna happen next. Let's just get on to the next part. Hopefully, let's get into the next part.
To go over a bit of their controversy, in summer 2022, Taiga was accused of grooming. They made a twit longer where they reviewed the allegations and called them false. Later, an updated Google Doc was created that had evidence that not only were these allegations fake, they were deliberately created by ex-moderators and spread by a stalker of Taiga. So again, this is the Google Doc in question. Now again, I have no idea about this controversy whatsoever. I'm only bringing this up because it was actually a big point of contention for someone like Nux. So even the actual person, Taiga Holic, actually ended up making like a 57-minute like piece where they kind of went over this and really were just grilling Nux for not really correcting the record. The record had to be corrected because in this situation, Nux literally made a video where he was showcasing controversies to a popular creator known as Penguin Zero. Now inside this, he actually goes out and says, "Hey all, I edited out the Bungo Taiga segment of this video. Although I state in the video itself a disclaimer that I do not know the full story and do not take what I say too seriously, I would rather not be a cause for possible misinformation floating around now that new information was revealed. I'm still in the dark on a lot of details as I heard both sides of this event and don't know what to think. I'm sorry if I caused any undue harm." So I personally apologize to Taiga for their side, and they discussed my plan going forward. I hope the truth comes out, be it guilty or innocent, but I intend to set the record straight in the future when I understand the situation. So it's wild as fuck that we're covering pretty serious stories like this, but we don't have the entire story, or at least enough to make a video. That is basically how you bring on actual misinformation. So in this story, Taiga did not appear to be too happy with this entire situation. They actually talked about it again in that VOD I brought up, Nuxtaku Can't Stop Lying.
You think I deplatformed him? People are blaming me for deplatforming him? He got banned for sexual content. But you're blaming me for deplatforming him? Destroyed his life? You think I destroyed his life when the video where I talked about apologizing for it has more views than the video where I originally mentioned it, like, as a throwaway sentence? Over false allegations? I didn't make any allegations. I said what someone else said, and I was wrong to do that. But, like, there are so many comments like this everywhere.
I don't particularly think that was ever a great response in the situation. Like, yes, just because you regurgitated what somebody else said, when it comes to something this serious, it probably should have been something that you were 100% on the money for. It's a pretty massive fuck-up, and it's not a fuck-up that you can just, put in a pinned comment or a, side channel that people, may or may not see. At the end of the day, when it involves something incredibly serious, like, incredibly serious, like sexual assault stuff, you should 100% correct the record and make a actual real. It doesn't have to be like you slapping yourself in the face in front of it. It just really has to be a sincere apology that, again, you post on a main channel. The reason I'm doing this video, for instance, on a main channel is because I really do want to set the record straight. I really don't have anything to hide, and to be honest with you, when it comes to a situation like this, it's best that I set the record straight with my community. I'm not ashamed of involving people that wouldn't know about it. I don't really want to hide things under a rug because I have nothing to hide. At the end of the day, that, to me, is more shady. I've called people out for really bad behavior, and I think this is probably some of the worst that I've seen, especially when it comes to reporting on something that you probably never should have in the first place, especially when it would have cost somebody, a lot of issues down the road, right? Even the comment section over here isn't entirely happy about the situation, because obviously they say if you know how the internet works, then you'll know why that little clip can end a career of somebody. You said it, people are calling other people's stuff, but it never gets to somewhere because they don't have to reach to. But if some idiot with almost 800k subs, it doesn't matter if 1 million people see it. At least 1/8 of them are going to clip it and repost it. Which is really true. If you make a serious fuck up like that, I think not only is removing the video a big problem, but you really got to go onto your main channel and address these situations. If you make a fuck up, especially one where you inadvertently end up slandering somebody, you got to cover for that. And the reason I also bring this situation up is I don't condone any situation where people are this mishandling with the truth, right? And that's really where I want to kind of leave things at. So, sorry, Chud. Now, one comment that I saw on Reddit that I want to address too, because obviously this is a pretty good reflection of somebody that is very properly critical of me, right? Somebody that is actually hitting me with hard questions. So one user, Nostra Clonoa, says, personally, if you're asking me, I think it's weird that you don't look into the background history of your friends and the people you're just perfectly fine platforming. Again, we kind of did a podcast together. Everyone was a sizable creator. I don't really think that it is specifically me platforming, right? This is just 3 larger creators at the time. You allowed Mama Max to run rampant for years. Again, I wasn't the only large creator that worked with Mama Max or collaborated or, at some point patted him on the back. The reality of it is there was plenty of creators. I was just one of the guys that came out and really absolutely threw him through the ringer, as I'm doing with Nux with this condemnation, and again, an explanation as to my side of the situation. The reality of it is I don't have to come out and make these videos, but I choose to because I believe being accountable is important. And I'd be a total hypocrite because I call other people out on crazy shit. And if I'm willing to completely sweep things under the rug and pretend like things don't exist or show you actual things, then I am a pretty big fucking hypocrite on my own. So you blindly believe the allegations against Magnetar, which I apologize for, especially. You blindly believe the Night Docs was a creep, and you blindly let a guy like Nuxtaku openly discuss and show freak shit in his thumbnails.
If the content was as bad as you claim it to be, then you would have stopped it from the very start when you realized that was the content it was doing. But the fact you didn't either means you don't believe that content is as bad as you think, or that you're willing to let that sort of content that you believe to be equivalent to CSAM slide, as long as you're getting paid, as long as you're buddy with him, as long as nobody brings it up, which makes you a scumbag.
Again, I don't control another person and their YouTube account, so I don't know what I can do with their thumbnails. But again, it's something that I do condemn, especially when these thumbnails are slightly changed. Again, I don't think they should have ever been used in the first place, and I don't want to work with somebody that believed these thumbnails were a good choice in the first place. You actively don't look into the folks you trust, and you just blindly allow them to say whatever without having critical thought about a single bit of it. So again, I don't really watch a lot of content creators that I collaborate with, and nobody really does, okay? Like at the end of the day, when it came to Nux's channel, here I'm signed on with my actual YouTube account, and if it's one thing that you'll see, usually under videos, there'll be like a red bar. I don't have a red bar under basically any of these videos. I think the only video I have an actual red bar in this is probably I showed YouTubers the most cultured clips, which I actually browsed through just for the sake of, again, this video. So yeah, Nux is somebody that I did a podcast with, but it's not that I watched any of this content beforehand, right? Again, this was somebody that was very popular in a community of people beyond just anime and VTubing, and it led some credibility. And again, the only reason I'm making this video now is to take accountability and to really, again, condemn the behavior that this person actually exhibited. Again, that's really the reality of it. Even if you look at other friends of mine like Oompaville, you can see literally I watch the content that I'm interested in, right? Like Mr. Beast's response, him saying he's retiring, Foozy crash outs, a sad AI situation, Smart Schoolboy 9. These are things that I actually watch, right? Guys like Wendigoon, great friend, love Isaiah. But I think the only video out of his that I've watched is probably the disturbing and controversial video game Iceberg, and more specifically, Faith 3D. Isaiah is more a video gaming YouTuber for me, especially when he covers things like this. And this goes for a lot of my favorite YouTube friends, okay? I like Moist Critical, don't watch every single Charlie video out there. In fact, I don't.
The whole issue is that you've been in his videos and you've watched content that you would have deemed to be bad, though. That's the issue. You've had multiple videos where you've done this. You've had videos where you've been in Rule 34 competitions, and yet you still let it slide. You can't act like, oh my god, I've never watched any of his content. You've been a part of his content. You've been a part of the content that you would criticize and say is bad. So you clearly knew about it. So stop trying to sweep it under the rug. It gets really annoying when people try to sweep stuff underneath the rug when they've clearly been involved and they clearly know. Anyway, let's just
power round criticism before we end this off. Lol, fuck Muta. Dude's been a hypocrite forever as well. Dude virtue signals over cartoons, but loves watching beheading videos. So I want to also address this statement as well. Now, on the podcast, I talked about a morbid curiosity that I have with like beheading videos, like cartel stuff on the internet. And I feel like I have to explain this a little bit more. My morbid curiosity comes from the fact that for a long time, for years at this point, I've been looking into the Mexican drug war. And if you ever followed like cartel social media, one of the weirdest things about their social media is you actually have like gang bosses, sicarios, like actual hitmen, like real hardened gangsters posting on Instagram, TikTok, posting on really any social media platform, their mansions, their extravagant lifestyles, they've got gold guns, Ferraris. It's really crazy propaganda they use to really house people in. But if you look in Reddit boards like r/narco footage, a lot of these boards where they, catalog the Mexican drug war, you'll find plenty of uses of social media where the cartel uploads straight up beheadings, violence, takedowns as forms of intimidation. So realistically, I don't enjoy or love watching this kind of stuff.
So I was going to put a video here of Mutahar talking about the cartel videos and pointing out how it's nowhere near the same as how he's phrasing it in the video, but I just for the life of me can't find a clip. So I guess take my word on it, the clip's out there somewhere, I just can't find it. So for now, I guess take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah, anyway, on to the next bit.
Ultimately, I want to move past this, leave this behind, and really just sort of end this on a note where at least I get my side of the story out. For the last couple months, this has been something where I feel like I've been taking a whole fuck ton of the pot shots, when really it's Nux that should absolutely be taking a lot of this, shit full face on. Something that I haven't seen on his secondary channel, main channel, social media platforms is actually taking accountability for some of these pretty serious grievances. Look, at the end of the day, I don't think this is a simple cancellation. Lowly content is not something that I ever endorse, and it's something that I've been 100% against. And unfortunately, having somebody who may have potentially shown me this stuff based on the clips that I've seen, which seems to be a pretty high likelihood, is not something that I should have ever done. Should have been completely 100% against it. Take accountability for it. But ultimately, yeah, I don't ever want to work with Nux going in forward. I think that bridge has long since been burned. And like I burned a bridge with Mama Max, with his situation, this is not a bridge I want to keep continuing. So I definitely want to take accountability for my stuff. But yeah, this is me, Mutahar, and I'm out.